Questioning life. Hello, fellow Mavericks. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Ordinary Maverick podcast. So, fellow Mavericks, have you ever reflected on, how much our life revolves around questions? From the time one enters the world, the questions begin, right? Is it a boy, a girl? What's the name? Who do you look like? And countless more. And just see, I've already asked so many questions myself. Well, today's podcast is about questions and living a questioning life. As I reflect back on my own life, having a questioning attitude, a curious mind has been so critical to shaping our life's journey. However, one needs to be careful too. One can quite easily get overburdened with questions, and there's a thin line of getting paralyzed to inaction or, sometimes hasty decisions. One can ask so many questions and get so caught up with the answers that you are unable to do anything. So, when is enough? Enough? Well, here comes the Maverick formula's first component: go with your gut. Asking questions and getting answers is all good, but one needs clarity of mind to take action and then fall forward. Let's unpack this a bit more. In the dictionary, a question is an utterance which typically functions as a request for information, which is expected to be provided in the form of an answer. A question can be word or words used to find out information. And there are all the types of questions. They can be yes or no, alternative questions, is it this or is it that, giving options for answers. Then there are open questions like what would you like to do tonight? And leading questions, thought provoking questions, and so many important questions that one asks during the course of one's life. Asking the right questions at the right time in your life is a game changer. And of course, it's also important to see who's asking and to whom. I do believe that some of the best questioning happens within ourselves, and we'll speak on that soon. Before I get to that, let me share some of my own experiences with questioning bits and how that impacted our lives. It was questioning that bought us an apartment in the so coveted and difficult to buy area in the city of Mumbai many years back. At that time, young people starting off in their jobs and life just didn't have the capital to buy a house, and there were limited mortgage options too. But it was asking questions during a elevator journey that led us to explore buying an apartment, and lo behold, a few months down the line, we were proud owners of the home. It was a bit crazy actually. We happened to be in the elevator with one of the developers of the property, and we were visiting family who had recently moved in that very building. Making conversation, we asked questions about the apartments and how were the sales doing, etc., etc. And just like that came a question. Well, do you all want to explore buying one? There were just a few available, and the developer was keen to kind of wrap up the sales as soon as possible, and thus was willing to meet us halfway in negotiating and finalizing the sales. We kind of hit a jackpot in some ways, you see. And believe me, we had no intentions of buying when we entered that elevator. But the right question at the right time to the right person changed it all for us. It was the same questioning nature that led our younger daughter to try out for the school water polo team while studying in high school in South Africa. Having recently moved from India, we were not at all familiar with water polo and had zero idea of what it was and entailed. In fact, India doesn't play water polo. The only polo we knew was the one played on the field while riding on a horseback. But a younger one went up and asked about the game in her school, did the tryouts being a good swimmer, and yay! She got selected in the team to commence practice. In fact, when she came and told us, we had to get onto Google and read about water polo. We met the coach and the manager of the team and shared our inexperience with the game, and I must say, they were extremely patient and just welcomed us in and were willing to answer all the crazy questions that we had. And so were all the water polo team parents. Later, our elder daughter also did the tryouts and made the team. So both girls played water polo for their school and the province, also known as a state in some countries. And a younger one, in fact, was the goalie for her team. We learned so much about water polo in those years, went to every match, all the practices, and had many memorable get togethers. Braais, as barbecues are known as in South Africa, with parents and the entire team, it was truly something. We also felt the pressure. Water polo is a game where each team scores goals and it requires some major stamina as one is treading water the entire time. Well, during the national tournaments in one of the games, I think it was the quarterfinals or something, there was a penalty shootout. The pressure on the goalies was intense and I never realized it. But the pressure on the goalies' parents was even more, trust me. My wife was there during that game, and as my younger daughter, our goalie prepared for the penalty shootout with her coach and the team, all the parents gathered around my wife, giving her moral support and encouragement. It was bizarre. My wife always recounts that memory, saying she now knows firsthand the immense pressure a player faces on the field and what their families go through as well. And then, when the shootout started, that was it. It was almost as if the entire world had narrowed down to that pool and the ball and a younger one defending the goal. 1-1, 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, 4-3, 5-4. Done. What a game. We won that game that day, and the euphoria that followed was unbelievable. Our younger one was the star of the day, and we all went a bit crazy. Although the other team also played so well, and my wife and my daughter met the other goalie and her mom too, who were super disappointed, understandably so, but kept the sportsmanship spirit up. Just shows how unpredictable life is, and a split second in scoring a goal can change the course of events. All the hours of training, all the early morning rises, the endless hours of building stamina, weekend trainings, eating right, etc., all paid off when the game was won that day. It's one of our most memorable memories from our time in South Africa. We are all richer from getting familiar with the world of water polo. So many learnings. I'll speak of that more in another podcast. For now, let's get back to questioning and experiencing the Devil's Pool. Yes, you heard it right. The Devil's Pool. This is at the Victoria Falls, the majestic waterfalls between Zambia and Zimbabwe, and falls on the Zambian side. Well, we took a trip to the Vic Falls, my wife and I, to celebrate our anniversary as well as our recent status as empty nesters. I have spoken about empty nests in a recent podcast. Do check it out if you haven't already done so. Well, we've always heard about the Vic Falls and how majestic, awe-inspiring they were, and that one must experience them firsthand, etc. But we didn't know anything about the Devil's Pool. We get there and once again start asking questions. The right ones. And out comes the mention of the Devil's Pool. It's a rock pool that's formed after thousands of years of erosion, and this one is at the very edge of the falls. So it's a sheer drop and gives one an up and close and personal view of this drop off the side of the pools. Very much like an infinity pool, only that it's on top of a waterfall with a drop that's unbelievably thrilling. Well, once we had asked the question and got to know about it, we had to just experience it. We were there at the right time as the pool is only accessible for a few months in the year. We had to walk through rocks and swim in the Zambezi River to reach the pool, and then by sheer force of the water, we were pushed to the edge. There's a natural rock lip that's there at the edge that stops us from going over, and the raging waters of the Zambezi just crash down over the cliffs while you watch, spellbound and with adrenaline rushing through your body. It's impossible to describe the view and do full justice to this absolutely exhilarating feeling one gets as you feel the force of the Zambezi River flowing past you and crashing down the precipice. 100-meter drop. There's over 500 million liters of water that cascades over the fall every minute. So it's quite something. A once in a lifetime experience, and all because of the right questions asked at the hotel we were staying at when we arrived there. But sometimes asking questions can lead you to a situation known as the paradox of choice. One has so many answers and choices that it can lead to even more confusion and ultimately inaction or even hasty decisions. And they then land you in a situation that you're not happy with. Here's a simple example. Breakfast buffets at hotels. You go in and ask yourself, what will I have for breakfast? And then are presented with a wide variety of choices. Can get so confusing and you may end up taking a lot on your plate and not finishing or eating something that you're not quite happy with and asking yourself later, oh, why did I have to do that at all? Well, we have learnt over the years and have found a solution of sorts. We go in already mentally prepared as to what to eat. You kind of know what breakfast options are there, and so we just kind of pre-decide and go in there and take just what we want. See, that's what I mean. Do your own math, your homework, even as you ask the questions. It goes back to the first component of the Maverick formula, going with your gut and practicing mindfulness. Then question around, or if you are questioning and kind of get a lot of answers and stumble on new information, then again go back to your gut. Very important to have your own stability, and I mean mental stability here to wade through all the answers to your questions and not get bogged down. So fellow Mavericks, I would like to leave you all with some food for thought here. What are the most important questions one can ask? There are innumerable books and articles written about life-changing questions, etc. But I just want to share 5. Of course, each to your own, and there's no end to questioning. But these 5 questions bring out the maverick spirit in me and hoping in you too. So here it goes. Question 1. When did you last try something new? Question 2. What do you wish you had spent more time doing 5 years back? Question 3. Where would you like to go and why? Question 4. What is your number one goal to achieve in the next 6 months? And question 5. If not now, then when? Do keep writing your comments and sharing your feedback at theordinarymaverick@gmail.com and follow me on Instagram, #theordinarymaverick. I would love to hear from you. This is Ajay signing off and wishing you have an amazing day, a super amazing year. Keep well, stay safe. Credits. This podcast series was put together as a team effort from the Bhardwaj family. Concept, design, title, researchers and reviewers Sanjana, Ajay, Avantika and Niharika Bhardwaj. Script, Sanjana. Cover design, Niharika. All rights reserved.